Good evening and thanks for watching CTV Sports. As you know, we were off last week for spring break.
And apparently so were the men's and women's basketball teams.
Ooh, ouch. Yeah, needless to say, it was a very disappointing finish for both the men and the women. The men's team was in Las Vegas in the Mountain West tournament 2 weeks ago, where they made fairly easy work of the Bulldogs before falling to San Diego State in the next round. Many experts still assumed the Rams were a lock to make the NCAA tournament, but the committee saw it differently and left CSU out. That didn't officially end CSU season, but it might as well have. The Rams then got invited to the National Invitation Tournament as a 1 seed to play South Dakota State at Moby Arena. The Jackrabbits were definitely living up to their name. They were jacking up shots all night. They finished with 12 threes on 42% shooting and ran CSU out of Moby, dealing the Rams just their 8th home loss in the Eustachy era. CSU looked completely burned out in this game, and it was apparent that the disappointment from their tournament snubbage wore heavily.
A lot of scenarios we came so close. So as I sum this season up, just so close yet, no cigar.
Now, Patrick, this was clearly a disappointing finish to a very good season for the Rams. A record 27 wins for the school in men's basketball, and then a very disappointing finish.
Yeah, especially it all started when they didn't get that seed in the bracket. Everyone was real surprised. It even caught me off guard, checking Twitter. Everyone's just blowing up. And then they played this Jackrabbit team at Moby at home. Everyone's kind of thinking maybe a cupcake game, an 8 seed. What people didn't know was the Jackrabbits had won the regular season conference, and they lost the championship of the Summit League Conference tournament. So a great team. And then they came into Moby, 7 threes in the first half. That's tough to play defense against, Trav, because
Absolutely.
The big three for CSU all had double figures, with Avila leading the way with 19 points and 11 rebounds. So they played great. I mean, it's just tough to defend a team that shoots 42% from the field in the first half.
You just got to give credit to the Jackrabbits. They were making their shots. The defense was there, but they were draining. And then we got to talk about the Mountain West tournament when they lose to San Diego State. Avila, a key injury, rolls his ankle against Fresno State, doesn't play in that San Diego State game, and Eustachy after the game said he believed CSU was a lock for the tournament, wound up not getting the seeding, and then you have to think he might have regretted not playing Avila in that San Diego State team because he thought he thought the team was a lock.
Yeah, and Trav, you were down there. I don't know what the vibe was like. And some people back here in Fort Collins kind of felt Wyoming, since they won the tournament, they might have stole that bid from CSU.
Yeah, Wyoming winning that tournament definitely hurt the Rams because Mountain West wasn't a great conference this year. Getting 3 teams in, San Diego State, Wyoming, and Boise State, it's hard to back up getting 4 teams in if you put CSU in because the conference wasn't very great this year.
Yeah, and it's a bummer for these seniors. As we look on to next year and the returners, there is quite a few on this roster. We got Gillian, Clavel, players like that. So they do have a structure for next year's roster.
They do. And Jeremiah Page, a freshman that redshirted this year, look out for him next year. He averaged over 20 points per game right here in Colorado playing high school. He was nominated for McDonald's All-American. And now you see the men's notable returners here. We got Deciman, Teal Daniels, Gian Clavel, as you said, John Gillen, Antoine Scott got the medical red shirt. This is a solid team. I could see them being very good next year, but it's going to be interesting to see how they gel at the start because you take away Avila and Bejarano, those 2 go-to players.
Yeah, and Eustachy likes to bring in JUCO transfers like he did this year, so you never know what Eustachy has up his sleeve, but he is great at rebuilding like you saw this year when no one was really expecting a 27-win season.
Yeah, very impressive at what Eustachy does to make his teams gel. It's going to be a fun year next year because nobody knows what's going to happen. This isn't a season that you can say they're going to be great, they're going to be bad. It's going to be fun to watch for sure.
I'm excited, Trav. The women's season wrapped up just as disappointingly as the men's, if not more so. The expectations as a 1 seed were similar to those of last year, but the disappointment came sooner. The Rams were knocked out in just the second round of the Mountain West tournament by the 8-seeded underdog San Jose State Spartans. This immediately wiped out CSU's chances of making the NCAA tournament, but their hard work all year also earned them a bid to host an NIT game. Sadly, Travis, the women had the same success as the men, and that means a first-round bounce from the NIT at home.
I'll tell you what, this was a heartbreaker to see happen. 2 years in a row, CSU, the women's team, wins the Mountain West regular season, gets bounced in the Mountain West tournament, losing that automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, and then lose in the first game of the NIT. It was really rough to see that.
Yeah, Ryan Williams has really built this program into a powerhouse of the Mountain West. They just can't seem to play well when it matters most in the postseason. We saw it last year against Fresno State and this year against San Jose State, a team they've handled pretty well all season. I'll give it to the Lady Rams, though. They played a really hard game at the NIT, only losing by 4. So they put up a strong showing, and it was a bummer to see players like Garrett Ryder and A.J. Newton kind of walking off the court in tears as was their last game as Rams.
And Garrett Ryder and A.J. Newton, great players here. Obviously, we lose them because of seniors. And let's look at next year's returners. We have some good ones coming back. Ellen Nystrom, Elin Gustafsson, multiple names you could look at here. Jamie Patrick, the sharpshooter, Victoria Wells, Hannah Mesta. There are players here that I think could fill the shoes of those two seniors and continue this success.
Well, interesting. Nystrom and Gustafsson have never lost a Mountain West regular season. Yep. But they've also never won a Mountain West conference tournament game. So it'll be interesting if they can get those next year with 2 of those under their belt.
It will be. Well, it's now time for a quick break, but we'll give you the lowdown on the new CSU athletic director.
Plus, other sports are happening right now. They aren't basketball. We'll fill you in after the break. Don't go away.
Hello, Rams. My name is Sydney Schulz, and I'll be your official Laurie Student Center tour guide. For our first stop, we arrive at the campus information desk in the land grant wall. As we move through the building, we enter the east to west corridor, featuring beautiful natural lighting and open architectural design. This is Sydney signing out from your home away from home and Laurie Student Center.
Welcome back to CTV Sports. Colorado State was without an athletic director since Jack Graham was let go back in August. But now the university has finally made a hire. Joe Parker is the new AD for the Rams. The former deputy athletic director for Texas Tech was brought in on Tuesday. Parker comes in after one of the most successful years in Colorado State athletics history, where the football team won 10 games, the volleyball team made the Sweet 16, and the men's and women's basketball teams each won 27 games. Travis, say what you want about Jack Graham, but there's no denying what he did for CSU athletics under his tenure.
Absolutely, and you got to say, for Parker coming in, the blueprint is there for this CSU athletics. He can launch them into incredible success, possibly getting them Big 12 where he has ties. Parker also, with the new stadium coming in, he was a part of 3 stadiums being built in his tenure here before coming to CSU, so he has experience with new stadiums, and you got to think he's fired up to be coming here with the new stadium and the great athletics that has happened.
Yeah, and he's got a history of knowing how to raise money, and that has been a big issue in Fort Collins, as they just got the bonds for the stadium today, so he can raise money, which is another plus. Also, he has a history in athletic departments, something Jack Graham didn't. He came from an entrepreneurial background, and sometimes people felt he ran the athletic department like it was his business. So maybe Joe Parker can run the athletic department more like in what people would expect from a college athletic department, and I think that's really going to be a strength for him. And hey, maybe he can get him into the Big 12. That is a place where he has been at Texas Tech.
Yeah, and talk about Parker. He was a 3-time All-American swimmer at Michigan, so he has an athletic background himself. And I saw an interview with him talking about what would maybe come to question is coming from those schools with a lot of money, how he would handle here being at Colorado State, and he thinks that's a fun challenge. He said he's been at schools where money wasn't as big. They didn't have those big-time donations, and I think he'll do a very good job here.
Yeah, and I think it was a great hire, great background, and I think things are really looking up.
Well, on Sunday, the CSU lacrosse team was looking to break its 4-game losing streak. The Rams took on Chapman University, and CSU came out of the gates hot, scoring 7 goals in the first period. Chapman fought its way back by outscoring the Rams in the second and third quarters, bringing the score within a point at 11-10. But the Rams finished the game strong, scoring 4 more in the fourth quarter, giving CSU the win 15-12. The lacrosse team now sits at 6-4 on the season and will be headed out to Michigan to take on the Davenport Panthers on Sunday.
Mountain West softball favorite Fresno State flexed its muscles last weekend, sweeping CSU in Fort Collins for a 3-game set. The Bulldogs started the first game out with a shutout against CSU, while Game 2 was a little closer as the Rams fell 3-1. Holly Rinke recorded 2 earned runs for the Rams, while Haley Hutton went 3 for 4 with an RBI. The third game was the closest until the 4th and 5th inning when Fresno State put up 8 runs to beat CSU 11-9. This loss extended the Rams' losing streak to 3 games. CSU now faces in-state rival Northern Colorado at home on Wednesday.
All eyes were on Garrett Grayson today at CSU's indoor practice facility with 16 scouts representing 12 NFL teams. Grayson had an impressive showing, completing 70 of 74 passes to Charles Lovett and running a 4.72 40. Grayson plans to stay in Fort Collins until the NFL draft. Now, Patrick, an impressive showing from Grayson here.
Yeah, I think he only helped himself here. I was looking online today. CBS has Grayson at number 4 out of all quarterbacks. This might have pushed him up, and it was great to see. He completed more passes in his pro day than Marcus Mariota did in the NFL Combine. So that's saying something. And he said he liked his 5 to 7 step drop, something that he was really able to work on with McElwain, and I think the scouts will really like that too, Trav.
And as you touched on with the drop, he said that he ran about 90% of his plays from the shotgun in McElwain's offense. So that 5-step drop back he was working on in this offseason, and he performed pretty well with it. The scouts believed. And you got to give credit to him running a 4.7 40. Winston ran a 4.9, so he ran faster than Winston, and Winston is a scrambling quarterback. That's pretty impressive to see Grayson out there.
I think that's just something to show the scouts. He's got other stuff in his arsenal besides that cannon, and who knows, maybe he was just camping out on that hamstring, getting a few more days, getting a few more workouts in so he get those numbers up. But all in all, he just had a great pro day, and it was good to see.
Yeah, well, it is March Madness, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the brackets at least a little bit, Patrick.
Yeah, it's a sports show, Travis, after all. Let's see how both of our brackets came out for the Final Four.
Well, Patrick.
Having one of those days where you need to just get out of your head and chill out? If that's the case, head to the Laurie Student Center and relax. One of the best spots to relax in the LSC is outside the food court on the Plinth Lawn. Don't forget to stop by the Ramhead Fountain. The Level 100 Commons is the perfect spot. Lounge by the flat screen TVs or enjoy one of the gaming chairs to escape the daily grind. You can always relax in the LSC.
Now, Patrick, it is called March Madness for a reason. Upsets happen. This year's been a little crazy with the brackets, so now with updates on your Final Four, who would you have?
Well, I got to go first, Duke. Duke is my pick to click. I got him going all the way with Jaleel Okafor. That guy's just been a monster. I was watching their last game, and he just couldn't be stopped. And then I have Louisville. Louisville looked great as well. Arizona, kind of the dark horse, but Notre Dame's probably my biggest dark horse on here. I have them beating Kentucky. Kentucky just didn't look that strong against Cincinnati, and it's just so tough to finish the season undefeated, and they have no losses, so they got kind of something to lose, where these other teams kind of got nothing to lose. In Arizona and Notre Dame, you're not really expected to get to the Final Four, so it'll be fun to watch. And I mean, we still got the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, so a lot of basketball to play. But how about you, Trav? What do you got in your bracket?
I'm gonna have to straighten you out here, Pat. I got that Kentucky team going all the way. They have 10 players that could start across the nation. They've got 2 starting lineups, basically. I got Kentucky winning this one. Arizona, how about Arizona? They have not lost a game all season to a team in the top 25. They have done fantastic. And Boomer Sooner, baby. I got the Sooners being a surprise team in there. Maybe not such a surprise, but Big 12 has struggled, and you got to have those Dukies. Duke in there, baby. Jaleel Okafor has looked really impressive so far.
Yeah, and Coach K always has his team ready for the Final Four.
He does.
And that's all the time we have for you tonight.
Be sure to check out CTV's ASCSU election coverage throughout the week.
It's all right, Trav. It's a mouthful. And have a great night.